School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Felder, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm trying to find you. Somehow I hear you, but here we go. There we go. I'm pushing the wrong buttons here.
Well, there we go, man. How you doing this morning?
Here we go. Hey, guy, how are you and your family doing this weird week we've had?
We're doing fine, man. I was thinking about as I was listening to Desiree give the news recap this morning. It's of two worlds because, central Mississippi, we did have really cold temperatures. Some portions lost power, but for the most part, it's kind of back. But the top half, North Mississippi, is still really in the throes of the ice storm. So it's of two worlds, man.
Well, I know it's been real strange for me too, because even though I'm in England, by the way, I'm gonna be in the studio and live next week. I'm coming back. I've had my daughter check on my garden, and she said it did all right. Some stuff looked kind of rough, but that's central Mississippi. But all week long, UK, England has been the news. Every broadcast has pictures of this ice storm. It's historic even in Europe. I mean, I can't tell you how many pictures I've seen of Oxford, Mississippi, on television in England. It's been really, really weird. But, I've got a special guest coming up in a few minutes, one of the top arborists, urban tree people in the state. He's going to talk with us about some things people can and should not be doing. There's some other things to consider. So anyway, we're going to come up with a pretty timely thing. Because, Java, that's what we do here at MPB. It's not just all fun and games and pets and health and stuff. Sometimes just what can we do to help our neighbors? And so anyway, that's what we're going to be doing. I do have a couple of events coming up I'd like to talk about, but one of the things I want to do, let me see if I can adjust my background. I want to see if I can do this, Java.
I hear you clicking buttons already.
Hear me clicking buttons. It could be strange, can't it? I don't know how to do this. Anyway, I've got a really good picture I want to use as the background besides this. But I think this will do the job, won't it? With the cold and the ice and the broken stuff. At least if you're in the, in the top half of the top third of the state. So a lot of stuff going on, Java. I know some of our neighbors up north don't even have power yet. So they're going to have to, hopefully they tuned into the radio for news about what to do. But hopefully they're getting the power soon, because I know a lot of the power companies have been just completely overwhelmed. Just completely, just getting from town to town has been hard enough for the power companies. But anyway, it's all doom and gloom to a lot of folks, but we're going to try to keep it bright and talk about gardening for a little while. We do have some things to share with you, but we'd like to remind you that it's a call-in program. We've got 2 hours to chat with you about what's going on or not in your garden. So give us a call, toll-free, 1-877-MPB-RING, and whatever's on your gardening mind, even if it's just thinking about planting potatoes in a bucket or what to do about winter weeds and stuff like that. We're going to be talking about gardening. So that's what me and Java and our live stream team is here to do. So Otherwise, Java, what's been going on with you, man?
Well, yeah, to your point about, it's not always, fluffy and pets and roses. We've been doing a lot of emergency preparedness things with the governor's press conferences and MEMA. So, MPB, that's kind of one of the roles that we play, along with informing and entertaining the public. So we've been keeping everybody on top of all of the pertinent information, because I say again, we're based in Jackson, and for the most part, it's okay here. But in the top half of Mississippi, it's really, really bad. And I even have some family members, because my mother is from Oxford, who are still without power. Some that just got power yesterday or the day before yesterday. And I do have an email. I do want to send this email to read it, because I do The Blend, a new show here at MPB, Monday through Thursday from 9 to 11. And this email came from Ben Knight, just about what you were just talking about. It's been, and it reads, "It has been so nice to sit by the gas heater and just listen to the radio up here in the frozen north." And then they put like a laughing emoji. And it says, "No power and icy roads really does require us to have a forced slowdown. And I have thoroughly enjoyed The Blend while I read. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your Corinth friend, Ben Knight."
Very nice, very nice. I mean, it's just, a lot of, well, it's been kind of. I've had a lot of emotions because I've been seeing what's going on in the state. I've been through some ice storms, and I've been through some heat and drought. I've been through heavy rains. I've been, all that kind of stuff. My garden has lost plants. I've had things split. And it can be devastating, but more important, our communities are hurting right now. So we're going to try to address that again with my guests in a few minutes. We'd like to mention a couple of events that are going on right now for folks who are ready to move forward. One is this weekend. Now, you talk about getting away from all the news. The Gulf Coast Orchid Society is having its sale, is showing its plant sale on the coast today, Friday the 30th. And Saturday and Sunday. And it's going to be at it is at the Gautier Convention Center. It's free. So if you just want to get away as far away as you can and go to a real tropical paradise, go check out some of the orchids at the Gautier Convention Center. Also next week, I'm actually going to be back in the state. I'm going to go help my friends at Greenwood Cemetery, downtown Jackson. They're having an annual rose pruning, antique and shrub rose pruning and rooting seminar, where you can see these plants, you can learn how to root them and get all the cuttings you want. That's going to be next Saturday, February the 7th, and we'll talk about that more next week. But also mention, even though this is the National Gardening Bureau's year of the ficus, I was going to talk about figs and ficus trees and rubber trees and stuff like that, but including some of the finest fruits, our fig trees, the ficus, but we got more issues than talk about figs and stuff this week. Anyway, if you do want to give us a call, it's toll free 1-877-MPB ring. And I don't know if we have any calls yet, Java, but I got a couple of pictures that might want to cheer some folks up. Maybe.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's go check out the YouTube right now.
Okay, we're gonna get the our live stream producers. I don't know who is it this week. Is it Abram, John C, Marissa? Who's
Abram? We got Abram and John C out back there right now, ready to do the good work.
All right, let's put them to work. Picture number one I've got, and folks, if you're not if you're not watching this on YouTube on your computer, anytime you want to get around to it, 24/7, you can go to YouTube and in the search box put Gestalt Gardener, or go to mpbonline.org and see the pictures that I'm posting and stuff, and me and Java and my next guest also. But the very first picture number one, is enough to either make you happy or unhappy, but it's cheerful. It's dandelions and henbit growing in the lawn.
Which some people would consider weeds.
Well, consider weeds, I get that, but you know what? They're blooming right now. They don't care what the weather's like, hot, cold, rainy, indifferent. But dandelions, henbit, little bluets, and spring beauties, little low-growing wildflowers. First of all, they really don't hurt your lawn. They bother us because we've been taught that. They don't bother your lawn at all. Come springtime and it's time to mow your grass, just mow your grass. and the wildflowers are gone. But meanwhile, every warm day that comes along, every warm day, even this time of year, these things are covered with bees, sometimes even little butterflies. Pollinators get hungry in the wintertime, and sometimes the only thing out there are the weeds in your lawn. So I just want to, if you can, don't worry about them so much. You know, you can go around a few of them. Let's put up picture number 2, though. I think this is a real good one. And with some apologies to my friends on the coast, because they have a hard time growing this. This is called the hellebore. Some people call it the Lenten rose. It's a hardy perennial. It grows outside, uncovered in Michigan. It's blooming right now in my Mississippi garden. The top 2/3 of the state, hellebores are a real true winter flower. They like shade. They have to have shade. And if you want to try growing them on the coast, make sure they're in good deep shade and have some good rich soil. But also there's some other flowers, but hellebores are blooming right now. And then the third picture I want to show, third and fourth picture, this is something from some of our friends, including one person I know has been listening, my friend named Timothy Kimball, TK the third. He said, when are the snowdrops going to start blooming? So I decided to throw in a picture. This is picture number 4 of a snowdrop that started blooming. I took this picture this morning in northern England. And they always bloom in the wintertime. They call snowdrops because a lot of times it's snowing out there. They look like snowdrops. But the reason I want to mention that because this is a plant that a lot of us would like to grow. It won't grow in Mississippi, hardly. Maybe in the northeastern colder parts of the state, it'll grow. But that's snowdrop. But we can grow a plant that's starting to bloom now that's called snowflake. And that's picture number 4. So snowdrops look like little snowdrops. And if you look at them, they got tiny little green hearts on their inner petals. Snowflake, more like little white bells, and they got little green dots. Snowflake, which a lot of people call snowdrop, grow perfectly well from the Gulf Coast all the way up to Tishomingo County. They grow, and they don't care what the weather's like. So snowflake, leucosium is Latin name, is a really good thing for winter flowers. A lot of times we think about daffodils proclaiming spring is on its way. Now, heck with spring. Spring is 2 months from now. Let's talk about right now, winter, and we got snowflakes. And then 2 other pictures I'd like to show, and then I'll get off this. One is picture number 5. It's a perennial called painted arum. Arum leaves they're arrowhead shaped. They're green and light green, variegated. They come up in the late fall. They grow right through the wintertime. They grow outdoors in Minnesota. But this is the plant. It's an old heirloom plant. And once you get some of these started, you will have them for good. They spread a little bit. But painted arum comes up in the fall, dies down in the spring. As a matter of fact, it's a good combination for hostas, which die in the fall and come back in the spring. So painted arum. And then the last picture's picture number 6. This is what the painted arum flower looks like in the in springtime. It looks like that peace lily. So kind of related to peace lily, but painted arum is a great heirloom plant. Once you get it started, it will be with you from then on, and it always gives us a little cheer, only in the wintertime. So, I just want to throw out some little happy stuff there, Java. How we doing?
No, we're doing fine, and we're getting some calls lined up. But I did have a question because with the hellebore and the snowdrops, the picture, I don't know if it was just a picture, it's like the flowers were pointing down and they were looking kind of droopy. Is that just how they are, or that's how
they're like little bells. They come up, the stems are arching like on daffodils.
Uh-huh.
The leaves look like daffodils, but the flowers hang downward like little bells. Snowdrops, they look like snowdrop. They look like little pearl earrings before they open up. And then the snowflake also hang, they're little bells, but they droop down. So anyway, these are good plants. If you've got sun or shade, these are really good, dependable winter plants, even on the Gulf Coast. Just want to throw that out. So we got some interesting pub talk, but I'd rather talk with folks who have things to talk about from their garden.
Well, let's talk with Bill from Neshoba County.
Good morning, Bill. How are you, sir?
I am good. And you?
So far, so good. Not so bad.
I have a question. This happened about a month ago. I was out, cleaning up my fall garden, and there's this part that has a steep slope on it, and I got a bunch of irises and other stuff planted there. and I just happened to look over, and I saw a couple of what I thought were bees flying in and out of just a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe they're not just bees. Maybe they're something that'll sting me if I'm not paying attention. So I thought, well, I'm going to wait until the weather gets colder and they're a little bit not as active. And
Right.
The next day I went out and looked, and it was like somebody, I'm assuming it's an animal of some sort, dug them all up, and there were combs all over the place. It was like a hive. But so
I know
guess
I know
first of
exactly
all,
what it is. Yeah.
okay, what is it? And what ate them?
That was a yellow jacket nest. They're a little small. They're sort of kind of yellow and kind of light brown striped. But they nest in the ground, and they dig these holes that go down, and they come up and make a little chamber on the ground. And they have what looks like a multiple layer wasp nest that hangs downward inside a cave in the ground. So they make a little like a cave and build a nest from the roof of that downward. Come wintertime, a lot of people don't realize this, but almost all wasps, red wasps, yellow jackets, hornets, almost all of them die completely. They starve to death. They run out of food. They only last 2 or 3 weeks without food. And the only one that survives over the winter is the queen. So after it gets really cold, those hives are either empty but they got a lot of juicy stuff in it. And what'll do it, dig them up could be not likely a possum. It could be an armadillo. It could be a raccoon. But all sorts of digging things will come up because it's like finding a little slice of pie up there. So most likely a raccoon or an armadillo, and it just dug into an abandoned nest that was in the ground. Probably still has some eggs and stuff left in it. They're kind of juicy.
So whatever it was very neat about it. It looked like a 4-gallon hole. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
they've been digging these nests up and eating them in the winter for a long time. They got it figured out. But if it was it looks like an upside down wasp nest. It's probably yellow jackets. And again, they die when it gets cold. They starve, and the only thing that makes it over the winter is the queen. So it's safe for these animals to dig them up then in the winter.
Okay, so is it likely that whatever dug them up got the queen, or?
No idea. Don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know whether the
Okay.
queen stays there or moves to another place. I just don't know. But I guarantee if it's
Okay.
yellow jackets, there's plenty left for next year. They'll be back.
Okay. Oh, so they will they come back to the same place?
Sometimes they might because it's already dug, but most of the time, I don't know. They start over from scratch every year. That's all I know. And some may find an old used nest and go back because it's already dug. I just don't know. But I would, if they're smart, they would.
Okay.
All righty.
All right. Well, thank you. That was what I wanted to know.
Appreciate it, Bill. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for
What's up,
calling, Bill.
Java?
Well, let's get ready to take our first break, Felder. We do have Robert from Tennessee who's calling in, but let's take our first break real quick.
All righty. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing, me and Java Chapman and all the folks at MPB. We're glad you joined us. I know it's weird for a lot of people, and people in the south half of Mississippi. It's weird for y'all too because you're feeling for what's going on up north. And keep in mind that this ice storm up north is sort of like a Katrina was down south. Broken trees and down power lines and people's houses damaged. This is a natural disaster. So my guest I've got coming up in a few minutes, we'll talk about how you can care for your trees, whether it's from ice or tornado or hurricanes. So we'll be doing that. But me and Java, we'll be back here at MPB with more of the Gestalt Gardener after just a couple of minutes. We'll be right back. Stick with us, folks.
Hatred destroys the one who hates. The others that you hated, go on about their business. Care less.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar is right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Okie dokie, welcome back, folks. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, and we got a little sweet tune coming up in a few minutes. We also have an interview with a show note expert. But anyway, let's go to somewhere in Southwest Tennessee and talk with Robert. Robert, where are you?
I'm in Hardin County, just north of Tishomingo.
Oh boy, you caught it. Y'all got slammed, didn't you?
Yes, sir. I'm still without power.
Well,
there's a lot of people around here like that.
Appreciate you using up some of your battery and tuning into the Gestalt Gardener. What's up? What can we help you with?
About 3 or 4 years ago, I dug up a rose plant, or a rose bush, I should say, and planted it in my backyard. It's still living, but it has never produced roses. I heard you mention rose cuttings and all just a minute ago, and I was going to figure out what I could do to get it to go back to blooming.
Yeah. How old is this rose? Is it a really old bush?
I dug up root and all. It had been blooming by our ShopRite for 10, 15, 20 years or so, and every year was just covered with the old, big, deep red roses.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Robert. Does it bloom mostly in the spring or all the time?
It would bloom periodically. It would start in the spring, and then it might bloom again towards the end of the season.
Yeah. The reason why I'm asking, because a lot of old roses that were bought, the top part died and the rootstock sprouted out. And what you have, the rootstock is, there's several they use, but typically, and we see these all over old home sites where the top part died, rootstock sprouted out. I think one of the names is Dr. Van Fleet, but anyway, it's an old variety that blooms with red flowers, usually heavy in the spring, maybe a little bit more after that, but usually it's just once a year. What I would do, have you pruned this late? Do you prune this every year?
I've just let it grow. It's about 3 feet tall now.
I would keep an eye on it this year. Sometime in March, if you'll throw just a little bit of all-purpose fertilizer, it's sort of scattered around under the outer spread of the branches, not all in a pile on the trunk, but somewhere around close to the plant, just scatter some all-purpose fertilizer and either let it rain or water it in. This will invigorate the plant, and then let's see if it blooms this spring. If it does, everything's fine. If it doesn't, whether it blooms or not, if it gets to blooming or doesn't bloom, prune it back pretty hard then, even in May. You can prune them in May or even June. Cut it back maybe by as much as 2/3. Just cut it back to like deer antlers, 2 or 3 feet tall in a kind of a dome shape. If it's a spring bloomer, this pruning is done after it blooms and it's okay. If it's not blooming, this pruning plus the fertilizer will stimulate it or reinvigorate it and may kick it into blooming again later. But a little bit of fertilizer helps every 3 or 4 years, and pruning either pretty much right after they bloom, or if it's an ever bloomer, you can prune them in February. But a lot of these old shrubs are once heavy bloomers. We prune them after they bloom. So let's try a little fertilizer and then some pruning sometime in late April or May or early June. Let's see how that works.
Okay. I appreciate it, Felder.
Okay, listen, I hope you get your power soon. At least I hope your batteries hold up, or maybe your generator. I hope you got gasoline for your generator. But anyway, appreciate your call, and we're all thinking about y'all.
Thank y'all. Y'all stay safe, too.
Yes, sir,
Hey,
Robert.
Joe.
We appreciate you calling in, man. And like Felder said, stay safe. And it's just amazing. You spend a little battery to spend a little time with us.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that could be done this time of year, whether, if you're not frozen, that is, like planting fruit trees and things. There's a whole lot of stuff we can do like normal. Even if you got cold damage, it's still okay to prune roses like you'd normally do in the wintertime. February is a good time to prune your roses. So we're going to talk about pruning damaged shrubs and trees later. But anytime from here through the next 2 or 3 or 4 weeks is a good time to prune your roses. And it's also a good time to get a chance to turn your garden dirt over. Just take a shovel and turn it upside down while it's moist so you can get ready to start planting early. Instead of waiting until it's too late and the ground is too wet to dig, every chance you get, dig it before it gets too wet, and then you're ready to go come springtime. So what you want to do, Java?
Well, I did see our guests pop into the Zoom, but it's about halfway through the first hour, so let's do our cheesy tune. Okay,
the cheesy tune is actually not that cheesy. It's it's Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Sung by, I forgot the guy's name, Ira. He's the Hawaiian guy.
Oh, Israel. I will not try to pronounce this last name.
Anyway, it's just a sweet tune. It's a little short snippet. I thought maybe it just help us, breathe in a little bit, breathe out a little bit, and then we're going to come back with a real special guest and talk with Matt right after this. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Thank you for tuning in today.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
All righty, folks, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. And you tuned in to Gestalt Gardener. There's a lot of stuff that's going on right now. It's got a lot of people freaked out about what to do in their gardens, what not to be doing. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to come up with somebody who really not just walks the walk, but also talks the talk. We've got a guy named Matt Nielsen. He's a consulting arborist from Oxford. And we could talk about what or what not to do. He's with Green Groves Environmental Services, longtime member of the International Society of Arboriculture, certified with special certification tree risk assessment. And Matt, I see that last year you got your prescription pruning qualification. What is that?
Well, we like to come up with all sorts of fancy letters to make ourselves feel good and put them behind our name. That's Dr. Ed Gilman in the Florida chapter of the ISA, rolling out a process and a plan to help teach people how to prune, primarily for the professional arborist, to help the guy on the ground that's looking at the tree be able to explain to the person up in the tree what to prune, how to prune, what the goals are, what size cuts to make, things of that nature. So it's a lot of fun. It's new. It's going to change our industry for the better.
Well, you know, I got my tree surgeon's arborist license in 1978, and I've had a few classes then, but you know, a lot of this stuff is fairly new. It's new. We're always learning stuff. But before we get into that, let me ask you a quick question. It bugs me a little bit as a horticulturist and arborist and writer. What we call ourselves, one is a noun, the other is an adjective that includes AL. Is it arboriculturist or arboriculturalist?
I guess it depends on where you went to school, huh? I don't know. I just call myself an arborist.
We're tree guy. We're tree guys.
There we go.
Tree guys. But I understand you got power left, and that you're actually broadcasting from your truck on campus at Ole Miss. And I don't know how many people have noticed, but my background shot here is a picture you sent me of the Grove in at Ole Miss, and it looks pretty bad.
You know, it does. When you drive through campus, which I would not encourage folks to do right now, simply because there's still some ice and patches and the cleanup effort is underway. But as a consultant for campus, my job right now is to take a look at trees and help them, working with a small team to determine, you know, what do we keep, what do we retain, what needs to be removed, strategies for pruning, things of that nature. So it looks really bad, but I'm very hopeful that there's going to be a lot of trees that we're going to be able to retain. Trees are resilient. They're like people in a lot of ways. So I'm hopeful.
Well, you know, there's a lot I want to ask, but let's sort of get to the home gardening thing, because I listen to home gardeners. I mentioned earlier in the program that we're seeing a lot of pictures, even here in England, all over North Mississippi, but the Oxford area. How bad is this? I mean, you've been through some ice storms before. You've seen damage. You've dealt with hurricanes. How bad is it, Matt, for home gardeners?
Yeah, for the home gardener, you're certainly going to have some trees that, you know, aren't going to make it for several different reasons. Or what you're going to see if you retain them, they may have some, you know, challenges down the road. They may present some risks depending on where the damage is. But by and large, you know, it's a big deal from a power, water perspective, from an access perspective for the utility companies. For the average home gardener, of which I would even consider that myself, you know, my garden looks probably worse than most people's.
I talked to you the other day. You had just cut yourself out of your own yard, helping a few neighbors. I mean,
cut out of the driveway.
You got a chainsaw, consulting arborist with a chainsaw, and that's dangerous.
You ain't kidding. I had all my safety gear on. I looked the part for sure.
Earplugs and everything.
Yeah, oh yeah, we wear all of our PPE, even at the house. But yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be challenges moving forward, but I think we're going to be surprised at how resilient plants are. Right now, it looks real bleak, but I think a lot of your plants will probably come out of this swinging, and with some pruning, some love, I think they've got, you know, a lot of plants will have a fighting chance.
What should folks do who've got damaged trees? And assuming that these are not things that are causing threats to their house or their property, assume these trees are away from the house and the power line, they're just trees out in the yard. What should people do right now?
Yeah, it's a great question. My number one piece of advice would be wait as long as you can before you bust out the saw. A lot of what's going on
Nothing.
right
Don't do
now,
nothing right now.
do nothing. Enjoy a fire or a cup of hot tea, and resist the temptation to cut everything off of every plant that's got a broken branch. If you want to prune back, just because you got to feel like you got to do something, that's the way my wife is. She's sitting inside thinking, I got to do something. So you can pick up sticks. You could prune at the break, or just behind the break, even if it's a heading cut. Not back to another branch.
Heading cut means cutting back to something that's going in the direction you want to grow, right?
Right, or cutting back, ideally to a node. But a heading cut is what we classically think of as a stub or a stob, some people will call it.
A long stub.
A long stub. And a lot of times there are a number of plants that are going to flush out from that. You're going to get, the buds are going to differentiate and break.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of new growth there. And that can be managed in many cases. But to answer your question, I would say wait as long as you can to start cutting everything off and feeling like you got to clean everything up right away.
Yeah.
Give yourself a chance.
You think a home gardener really ought to try pruning a tree? I mean, would you recommend somebody get off the ground with a chainsaw and a ladder ever?
Absolutely not. Definitely
you wouldn't
don't
do that.
I wouldn't do that. If I'm on the ground, I'll prune, but otherwise I work with a qualified tree service. And what you see right now is a lot of folks coming in from out of town, especially in the Oxford market. We're inundated with storm chasers and sawdust makers. So you got a lot of folks in town
storm
going
chasers
after
and
it.
sawdust makers. That's a good one. And it's a liability thing. If they don't, if a tree person can't show you their license and show you the insurance, that means they don't have either. And if they hurt themselves, you're liable. If they hurt themselves on your property, you're liable. So how can people find somebody who's licensed? I mean, we don't have yellow pages anymore.
Great questions. So there's a couple of different licenses that you could have that I think would be, reasonable to qualify you for some tree work. There is a tree surgeon's license in the state of Mississippi, and that's updated by the state. If you search tree surgery or tree surgeons Mississippi, you will find that list. It was just recently a big push by the Mississippi Forestry Commission. Kudos to them for trying to get that list updated and really try to bring that up to speed. You can also find a certified arborist. And if you have a certified arborist on a tree crew, that can be really, really good. Those guys, that's an additional step, an additional training. And you can do that at treesaregood.org, which is the public-facing kind of arm of the ISA, International Society of Arboriculture. So you can look for those credentials. We could talk for a long time about how to vet somebody, but in general, these guys that are just rolling up out of town, they got a dump trailer behind them and a skid steer, and they're ready to cut down whatever you want cut down. They are not going to stop you because they're looking for, how can I make the most amount of money as fast as I can? Now, there's some that are not that bad, but exercise caution.
Yeah, well, that's a big thing. I mean, I would dream of cutting a tree myself. I hire people to do it, but I also know there's a lot of people going up and down my neighborhood, and they're, if they cause problems, that's on you. And even if one of them falls out of a tree, that's on you.
As Alex Shigo said, who was kind of one of the founders of modern arboriculture.
Yeah, he's who I studied.
Yeah, pruning can be one of the best things we can do for a tree, and it can also be one of the worst. So just because just pruning a limb doesn't necessarily decrease risk. Pruning a limb doesn't necessarily improve tree health. Pruning can be good, but it can also be incredibly detrimental if done in the wrong spot, done in the wrong time, done in the wrong way.
Well, in the next hour, I've got some pictures. I've got some pictures of a well-pruned limb or branch, and this applies to large shrubs too. One that was left where they left a stub and it rotted in the tree, one that smoothed over well, including one in Java's yard that was done right and it's healed over. So I'll show that. But one of the things, you mentioned basically just chilling right now, just relax. There's no big rush. See, I'm from the Delta, and we always had ice damage on pecan trees, and pecan growers never do anything, and they sprout back out. It's not pretty. It's not plant physiology. It's not perfect, but sometimes just leaving the tree alone will work.
Yeah, I think trees tell a story. And I think there's an opportunity to let them have a moment to recover.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of trees cut down prematurely, and I think it's worth having somebody that knows about decay, how trees seal. We oftentimes think of trees as healing. They actually seal. They're a little different than humans in that way. But having somebody that understands load, forces, dynamics on trees, how wind impacts trees, and they can evaluate your tree is good. We could unpack a whole bunch there. Maybe we'll have to do another segment on
we're
that.
definitely going to do that. Main thing right now is we just want to assure people that you don't have to rush in. You don't have to hire the first Jake Leg that comes along. You can take your time, and the good guys that are really working hard, they will have time later, and you have time for them to come back later and do stuff. You're not in any hurry right now.
Yeah, if you're taking care of the most imminent things, the dangers to your house. Obviously, if you have a tree resting on your house, that's a different story. If you've got, big giant limb on top of your house, those are things you want to take care of now. But things that are out of way where you're not noticing a tree heaving, the roots are still in the ground. The branches look relatively intact. Even if there's some damage or some breaks to branches, it doesn't mean you got to go in there and cut all that out right this minute. So don't feel like you've got to change your whole yard back to the way it was in one fell swoop.
Yeah, a lot of these trees they're not going to be picture perfect. They're going to be what I call characterful. I'm also a real big fan of snags. Leaving a dead tree is not going to hurt anything out there. It's in England they leave snags. They never cut down a tree and they leave them out there, and they're architectural. And they got wildlife and also stumperies. Instead of dragging stuff to the burn pile, make you a pile of logs and stumps and stuff and plant fern. Create a nice little interesting landscape thing instead of spending a lot of trouble and effort and money to haul it off. Make you it's called a stumpery, and it works, which is convenient.
I love that idea. And the wildlife snag, we just had our Professional Arborists Association of Mississippi conference down in Gulfport, and one of the presentations talked about wildlife snags. That's a great way to retain some, a tree that's not posing a large risk or a high risk to you. You can leave part of the stump, and that saves on hauling costs, like you mentioned. So you're gonna pay less to the tree company, and you're gonna create a spot for critters, especially birds, cavity nesting birds.
It's up to folks like you and me, though, to make it where it's not a symbol of shame, but a symbol of pride to have a snag out there. So anyway, 100%. Matt Nielsen, you're owner of Green Groves Environmental Service Oxford. Speaking for professional arborists all across the South, I got some other stuff I want to talk to you about, like is it okay to espalier a magnolia flat against a wall or poly to create myrtle? We got a lot of stuff we could talk about, but for right now, bottom line, what would you tell people in Mississippi to do with their damaged tree, whether it's hurricane, tornado, or ice? What would you do right now?
Yeah, right now, panic. Have hope. And if you can wait for just a minute, let the dust settle, get your power back on, get your water back on, take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your neighbors. I think that's the place where we got to start. And then, you can turn your attention to your trees. But if you can wait and have somebody that knows what they're doing, help assess that with you. I'd suggest if you've got questions on this kind of thing, go to treesaregood.org. Lots of good things there. Mississippi Forestry Commission's got some good publications. So if you've got internet access, do a little reading, do a little education, listen to Felder Rushing. That's a good start. And we'll come out on the other side of this swinging. But don't get in a rush to prune or cut down everything that's just got a broken branch on it.
Okay, well, Matt, I know you sit in your truck that you're in the Grove at Ole Miss. It looks terrible, and the moving equipment is really boogering up those tree roots, but that's a whole nother story we can talk about later. Anyway, stay warm. I hope you get your power on soon, and keep the faith, brother. We appreciate you joining us today. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Phil. They're a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Now, Felder, take us to break, man.
All righty, horticulture. Just got through talking with Matt Nielsen. He represents a lot of tree surgeons, a lot of arborists. People are saying just relax a little bit. We got plenty of time. Don't feel bad about your trees right now because everybody else look the same way. Nobody's judging you right now. So just relax, enjoy. And we're going to take a little break and come out with more of the Gestalt Gardener right here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Stick with us.
Every parent wants their child to grow, to explore, and to dream big. At MPB, we're proud to support families and teachers across Mississippi with trusted educational programming and resources that inspire learning and spark imagination. From PBS Kids Favorites to digital tools and early learning support, MPB is here for young minds, engaged classrooms, and families who believe in the power of learning at every age. Empowering families, inspiring learners. MPB, your stories, our mission.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission. Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
All righty, folks, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, and we're talking about gardening. I know the people in the bottom half of the state in Louisiana, lower Alabama, got a whole lot of other things on their mind, like lawn care and weeds and pruning, and the camellias are blooming, and my blueberries blooming too, a lot of that kind of stuff. So, give us a call. We've got a whole nother hour to do nothing but chat about what's on your garden. But we got any callers right now, Java?
No callers right now, but I got a couple YouTube comments. But before we get to that, if you're just joining us, that
Can't hear you.
Oh, my bad, Felder. I was just saying that we don't have any callers right now, but I have a couple YouTube comments to get to before we end this hour of the Gestalt Gardener. But that conversation you just had with Matt was great, and some of the websites that he gave out to give people proper information about getting licensed people to come and help them. We're going to add those to the podcast description so people can kind of link to those, because that's one thing we always talk about, especially even on Fix It 101 and some of the other shows, making sure licensed people come out and help you and not being in a rush after a disaster. You have to take your time.
Yeah, and again, this applies to people in South Mississippi after hurricanes, folks in the Delta after tornadoes. This applies to any time you have major tree damage. So anyway, we got a lot of time to talk about stuff, but you said you got an email?
Yeah, we got something from, let's see, this is Star Bama 66 on YouTube. So good morning. Yeah. And the question is, a friend in Fairhope is starting her spring/summer seeds in empty eggshells in an empty carton, saying that this will give the new plants calcium. True or false?
Absolutely false. And people will argue about this to no end. As a matter of fact, I ought to do a deep dive horticulture, but the eggshells are calcium carbonate. You can crumble them up and put in your dirt, and I can find those bits 10 years from now. It's got to be broken down by soil acids or by vinegar to fizz them, to change it into a type of calcium plants can use. The eggshell thing is almost pure mint. Doesn't hurt to use them in the garden, but they're not going to help this year or even next year. The eggshell thing is a myth in the short run. Very sure of this. People could say, well, I do it all the time. I'm sure you do, but anecdote versus science, okay? Anyway, eggshells, zero benefit the first year you use them in the garden. I'm real sure of that.
And lastly, they add another question, Star Bama 66. Will celosia grow on the Alabama Gulf Coast? Did I say that right?
Yeah. Yeah, celosia. There's a whole bunch of different kinds, but there's two main kinds. One we call coxcomb. It looks like brains on a stick, and others called princess feather. But both types of celosias do perfectly well. Now they're hot. They're from Africa. They like a long hot growing. They won't grow in the wintertime. So wait till it warms up. I'm gonna say late March or April before you put them in the ground. Hotter and drier it gets, the better celosias do. But a lot of beautiful celosias, coxcombs, princess feather. There's one called flamingo feather. They're terrific plants. Great, great, great reseeding annuals. Hot summertime though.
And I think that's going to hold us until the next hour. I do have a question on the YouTube live stream about carrots, but we'll get to that in the next hour.
Okay, well, for folks who are tuned in the live stream, while other folks are listening to the news, I'm just gonna do a little ranting about some stuff that's on my mind. But me and Java and all the other folks at MPB, we're glad you joined us. And if you'll stick with us, we got a whole another hour of just talking with you about what's going on or not in your garden. So stick with us, folks. We'll be back right after this. All righty, folks. So those of you watching on the live stream, we appreciate it. Java and I are still trying to figure this out. 2 hours, and in between when other people listen to news, it's just us. But I do have a little thing that my partner found for me. It's a short poem by Carolyn Wells. I think it's good. It's called "One Firm Faith." Ready for this? I don't believe the half I hear, nor the quarter of what I see, but I have one faith sublime and true that nothing can shake or slay. Each spring I firmly believe anew all the seed catalogs say is true. So there's that. It's time to start thinking about seed catalogs. But, we used to get all these catalogs in the mail with all these beautiful pictures, and I would circle what I want, turn down the pages and make lists and pare it down until I still ordered way too much than I could ever plant. But it's all done online now. Most of the seed catalogs are done online, and it's just not as fun as a real catalog when you can circle and draw, maybe cut pictures out. But anyway, it's nothing like having that real catalog in your hand, and you can still get those. But I would like to mention, if you're going to order seeds or plants, try to get it from somebody who's from close to us, somebody in the Southeast. Baker Seeds up in Missouri, they're in southern Missouri. Southern Exposure Seed Exchange, anything from Texas. The Mississippi Farm Market Bulletin. These are local people who are selling plants that do well in the South. So I encourage you to do that. Also, those of you who are trying to start seeds a little bit early right now, there's no rush. We have the longest season you can possibly have and still have a little winter. You don't have to plant anything in the garden till April. So there's no rush in getting your tomatoes started early. Just take your time. Relax a little bit. Go out and enjoy. If you don't have something to enjoy in your garden right now, something wrong, because there's lots of stuff, no matter where you're, even under the ice, there's things blooming and they'll be out next week. So anyway, the main thing is when it comes to seed catalogs and ordering seeds, getting things started, take your time. It's not a race. Horticulturally, maybe. Gardening, no. Just chill a little bit. So that's my little tidbit for during the news. So we're going to take a little bit of it's time to go. Time to go. Let's get back to gardening. What's up, Java? I couldn't hear you.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Two of the Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. We just had an interview with Matt Nielsen. You can listen to that anytime on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Gestalt Gardener. Go to mpbonline.org and check out the interview with the pictures and all. And in a few minutes, I'm going to show some pictures of what happens if you cut a branch off of a tree or a shrub. And you do it right versus if you don't do it right. It does make a difference. And I've got a handful of other things that you can be doing right now. So we'll be talking about all that. But it is a call-in program. This is your chance to call and talk with somebody who's not going to try to sell you anything, who's not going to bluff you, who knows how to say, I don't know, but I'll find out. So this is a chance for a community. So give us a call, toll-free, 1-877-MPB-RING, and be glad to talk with you, whatever's on your gardening mind. Whether it's something you did wrong last year or something that messed up, something you want to try this year. Maybe you heard something that just doesn't quite make sense. Java, as you know, I'm not afraid to say, nah, that ain't a good idea.
Oh, yeah. Now, that's always, I think I've told you this once, I told you a million times. That is the thing that I really dig about you, Felder, especially when it comes to the garden, because a lot of shows and a lot of people, they're going to try to push that product and they're not going to really tell you, hey, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, or they feel like their ego is involved if they don't know something. Matter of fact, there's not a week that goes by I don't learn something that said, I did not know that, and change the way I do things and what I recommend after that. Last hour, we got a call, an email, somebody wanted to know about eggshells. And that is just a myth. It's just a myth. There's so many garden myths out there, and they're based on a little crumb of reality, just a little crumb of reality, but have been blown out of proportion. I'll give you an example. Somebody said you need to plant marigolds to keep insects out of your garden. Well, the truth is, we found out if you plant marigolds one year and dig them into the dirt, the next year you won't have as many root knot nematodes in your dirt. That's all they do. But that somehow segued into marigolds will repel insects. Excuse me, but I know for a fact there are 18 different insects that eat marigolds. They're pungent. Pungent only is pungent if you rub on it, but there's some things that won't eat marigolds, like deer, because they don't like the taste. But marigolds will not repel insects from your garden, and never have, never will. But as soon as I say that, Java, people say, "Oh, he's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Some expert." So I have to. It's sort of like what's the word? Is it code switching? I have to do code switching horticulture. Some things that are horticulturally correct, that I know are horticulturally correct, if I say it, people are going to think I'm an idiot. Like, you got to water your grass every week. No, you don't. But if I say you don't, my horticulture friends say, you're dumbing stuff down, Felder. But on the other hand, if I say, you got to water your grass every week, Aunt Mamie's going to say, I never water mine. It's great. See, so sometimes I can't win, so I have to just be me. Just got to be me, Java.
And that's always the best policy. Now, I do have this question from YouTube from Miss Buggy Woogie. I promise we have some great names on our YouTube.
Buggy Woogie is better than Boogie Woogie.
on our YouTube chat. But before we get to the question from Miss Buggy Woogie, let's go to Steve, who called in. He's on the road and has a question about pruning.
Okay, Steve, what's up, man?
Hey, listen, I listened to your last conversation with the arborist about pruning and all that. He mentioned, you can do a lot of damage or not, depending on how you prune, but also when you prune. And with all this going on, he talked about kind of laying off on it a little bit. Now, does that mean that I should ideally prune maybe in like the spring on trees and stuff, or can I do some of that in the wintertime?
Well, Matt and I both have extensive training in not just pruning, but plant physiology, how wounds heal. And the truth is, there's a long difference between immediately pruning and ever have to prune it, and the tree will usually put out. So somewhere between the two is reality. They don't start really healing until sap starts flowing in the springtime. So if you wait till spring, late spring, summer, any of that time, if you prune, the tree's going to have plenty of sap flow to prune. So there's no rush. Let's say, for example, a branch breaks off a big shrub, just splits off a shrub. A lot of people say, well, I'll just tie it back on. No, that won't work. Well, they say, I need to cut it off immediately, or else, and it'll heal over. No, it takes time. Main thing is what kind of cut you make. And it's not gonna heal any quicker if you prune it quicker. That's what I'm saying. There's really important thing though, and I'll show some pictures in a few minutes. If he talked about heading back, if you have a long branch on a tree or a shrub, you can cut it back to several feet long to a branch or twig growing the direction you want. It's called directional pruning, or cut it way back and it'll sprout out there. That's if you're going to leave the limb long. If you're going to cut it off, whether it's a limb or a branch, if you're going to cut off completely, don't leave a stub. Cut it. Don't make a great big giant cut flush with the trunk, but where the branch or the limb swells out and joins the trunk, leave some of that. It's called a collar, and it'll heal over. If you leave a stub even 2 or 3 inches long, it's going to rot into the trees. The main thing is cut it as close to the tree as you can without leaving a huge wound, or if you're going to cut something back and leave it long, try to cut it back to something that's going in the direction you want. But anyway, it's not that big a deal about how soon you get to it. It's really not.
Okay. All right. That definitely answers it. I was just trying to, get all that done before I have to start cutting grass again. The branches get in my way.
Yeah. You can, if you know you're going to cut it anyway, you can cut it anytime. Fall and early winter, it just means the wound is going to be exposed long before it's hardly healing over, but it's still okay. You almost, as long as you make the right kind of cut, it almost doesn't matter when you do it. And by the way, I didn't have a chance to ask Matt this, but I'm sure he would agree. Using pruning paints, any kind of tar, any of that kind of stuff, it is not recommended by professional horticulturists or arborists. It's just not recommended. It not only doesn't help heal, but it can actually cause problems. It can retard the healing growth. So once a cut has been exposed to air and rain and dust for more than an hour or two, pruning does not. Paints do not help at all. So just don't. I wouldn't even think about spending money on pruning paint or tars or any kind of wound treatment. Just make a.
Okay.
If you could cut something off completely, cut it off right where it starts without leaving a stub. Otherwise, leave it as long as you possibly can so it sprouts back out.
Okay. Now, can I ask one more question not related to pruning?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm also looking, I live on the coast, but I have a house in Atala County up around Kosciuszko, and I was thinking I might want to plant a cypress tree up there, and put a cage around it to keep the deer away from it. Do you think, is that something that'll survive the winter?
Cypress trees, first keep in mind there's two basic kinds of what we call ball cypress, drop the leaves in winter. The regular ball cypress, see growing in the swamps and stuff, it grows fantastic, even as a street tree. We planted some as street trees in squares cut in the concrete in downtown Clarksville. They're doing great. Their ability to grow in waterlogged, heavy soils also makes them tolerate any kind of compact soil. Cypress trees are one of my top 10 go-to urban trees. They don't break apart in storms. They don't have a lot of leaf litter. They're beautiful. So they're fantastic. The only problem some people have is the ball cypress tends to send up in certain conditions these knees that come up everywhere. And if you don't like the way they look, you're just stuck with nothing you can do about it. If they come up in your lawn, you're just sort of stuck with them. But I like the way knees look, just mulch around them. But there's a type of native cypress called pond cypress, Pond cypress. Looks very similar. You'd almost have to be a trained person to tell them apart. But pond cypress, the little needle point up a little bit. Hard to find, but it does not make knees. Both of them are excellent urban trees. Excellent. And you can plant them close to houses. You can put them next to power lines because they grow straight up. They're not going to interfere with power lines if you move them a few feet. So I think a group of cypress trees is superior to a single oak tree any day.
Okay. I do appreciate the information. That's very helpful.
Okay, man. Be my hands on the wheels. Stay safe.
I will.
Java, I don't know if folks who may have just joined us, but the background shot here on the YouTube on the live stream, this picture I got in the background is one that my guest from last hour, Matt Nielsen, sent me. It's what it looks like the Grove, which is a famous party place on campus at University of Mississippi in Oxford. The Grove is a hallowed, heavily shaded area, and this is what it looks like right now. Not only the trees in bad shape, some are going to have to be removed. Some that look bad can actually be just left alone, and they'll do fine in the long run. My concern, and Matt's also, is the heavy equipment it takes to remove a lot of this stuff that packs the soil and compacts it. This crushes roots. And I think Matt's going to recommend coming back this spring with an aerator that punches holes in the ground or pulls plugs out to help loosen that compacted soil so air can get down to roots so they don't suffocate. So crushing roots is almost as bad as just pouring concrete around them. So anyway, just want to throw that out.
Now, yeah, let's stay on the phones and talk with Rebecca, who is in Fulton.
Rebecca, y'all got hit hard. You got hit hard in Fulton.
Yes, I'm grateful. We never lost power.
Wow.
I will tell you, Shenandoah County is like Belmont and Golden were fine, and then you go up a little bit farther and you go to Burnsville and Iuka, and they got slammed from what I've been told.
Yeah, I've been watching. I've been looking at. Even though I'm in England, I've been staying real. I'm with the Mississippi Gardening Facebook, and I've been looking at the pictures. So anyway, what's up with you? What can we help you with?
Okay, I was wanting to know what I can do now to prep for the spring. I don't have mulch down, around my bushes or anything like that, but I was just wondering, what can I do now to kind of prep for when spring comes? And also, I wanted to ask you about planting irises. I always seem to, I never seem to know, I missed the window that, I found out that you're supposed to plant them like in August or September for optimal growth. Is that right?
I can stop right there. Daylilies and irises, a handful of other plants, but daylilies and irises, and this is my personal experience, but also working with Iris Society members and Daylily Society members. They can be moved any day of the week, any month of the year, as long as if they're blooming, you want to cut the flower back and move them quick. But those plants are so durable, you can plant them anytime you get around to it, literally. Now, irises, there's two things to keep in mind. They're a little bit unusual. They got those big fan leaves. If they keep flopping over, just snip them back in a fan shape, and they'll put out new growth in the spring. But cut them back like a little fan. Or else make you some pins with cut up pieces of wire or coat hanger and pin them into place so they don't flop over. But here's something unusual about irises. They're one of the only plants that do not like to be mulched. That little rhizome, that little ropey stem that grows along the ground, the top part of it needs to be baking in the sun. So plant them so that the roots are in the ground, but the top part of that rhizome is showing. If you don't, the rhizomes may not rot, but they can keep the plant from blooming. So anytime you get around to them, cut them in the fan, stick them out there, mash them in, leave the top part exposed, and they'll do fine, just fine. I use irises as companions in all my other plants. Even if they don't bloom, I think the foliage is a terrific contrasting shape.
It is. Where I am is close. I mean, I live in an apartment, and so there's a lot of runoff, runoff of water, and I know I think I'm gonna have to elevate the earth or dirt or whatever you want to call it to make it where they're not going to get root rot.
Yeah, well, this is one thing. If you could dig the dirt, maybe a shovel deep. I think a shovel is plenty deep. This British double digging stuff, that's just masochistic. If you can dig the dirt a good shovel deep, turn it over, and then add stuff to it, and then dig your dirt first, spread some stuff on 2, 3, 4 inches on the top, stir it together. That'll be mostly sunk and partly raised. And then if you want to use a pressure-treated 2x4 or some river rocks or some edging from the store or anything to kind of keep, it's a partly raised bed, mostly partly raised, and have some decorative edging around to keep the dirt in place, it'll be fine.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And
one other thing. I grow stuff on top of my driveway in containers. I have irises, roses, vegetables, all sorts of things growing in low, wide pots. See, so if you can find some, not these tall pots, but the ones that are wider than they are tall, they're called azalea pots, but they're wider rather than taller. You can put a group of those around there and fill them with some potting and add a little real dirt to your potting soil. You can grow any of that stuff, and the containers themselves actually look kind of nice.
Okay. Well,
and if you ever have to move, you can take them with you.
Exactly. So I've forgotten. Do they need full sun, or don't they need full sun, or not?
Irises need at least 6 or 8 hours of sunshine to bloom. But I grow them even in my shaded gardens because, again, the foliage is pretty. But so as long as they get 6 or 8 hours of real sunshine, there is an old-fashioned iris you'll find around old home sites, cemeteries. They call it cemetery whites. They bloom white. They bloom earlier than the regular irises. A little short, foot or two tall with white flowers. It's kind of stubby leaves. They'll grow and bloom around oak tree roots. They'll grow in cemeteries. But if you can find that old-fashioned, what they call cemetery whites, Iris albicans, it's a terrific, it was used as an herbal fixative. It's called orris root, but old-fashioned white iris that is everywhere. It will grow anywhere, sun or shade, oak trees, or cemeteries.
My mom saw some that must have been an old home place over in Marietta, so thank you for the tip.
You bet. And as far as getting ready for spring, I think it's a good idea to mulch stuff, but your shrubs, if you could spread some bark mulch under them, that'll protect their soil a little bit better and keep the roots cooler when it gets hot in the summertime. But a little mulch won't come amiss.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for everything.
Well, appreciate your call. That's what we're here for. Thank you. Java, I really like being able to draw and just have conversations with people now instead of quick, let's get to the point, we're out of time.
I could really tell during that last conversation with Rebecca. And let's go ahead and take another break for the hour, because when we come back, we have Thomas, Francis, we have Jim from Poplarville on the line.
Write that fast. I can't write all that fast.
That's cool. I'll remember it for you. But let's go to break.
Okay, I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Java Chapman, he's a big wig at MPB in the radio, but he managed to somehow spend time being our producer for this. We appreciate that. Our live stream producer, John C., Abram, sometimes Marissa is in there. We appreciate all the folks at MPB putting you and me together, talking about gardening and stuff. If there's some things I can help you with, or some people you'd like me to interview, let us know. We're trying to make this a community event. No. It is a community event. That means you and me and all of them getting together. So we appreciate that. We can take a real quick break and come back with more of the Gestalt Gardener right after this.
Hatred destroys the one who hates. The others that you have hated, go on about their business. Care of us.
So the legacy of Medgar Evers is an understanding of our own humanity and of our own responsibility of seeing that in other people.
He is written out of history. He's just not included as Malcolm and Martin. To me, it's the 3 M's, and Medgar's right up there at the lead.
Everlasting, Life and Legacy of Medgar Evers. Watch now on MPB Passport. Visit mpbonline.org for more.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back, horticulturalist Felder Rushing. And next week, I've got a really fun pub talk thing. Java, we were talking about cats pooping in flower beds. I mean, and it just never stopped after that. Anyway, I've got a deep dive into what do you do, and do you have to worry about cats going to the bathroom in your flower bed. We'll talk about that next week. But we're here right now to talk to folks who got stuff to talk about their garden. Who we got?
Let's go to Jim in Poplarville.
Jim, thank you for holding. What's up, man?
I'm interested this year in trying my hand at growing some asparagus.
Yeah.
I'm going to use I'm going to set up a raised bed, and I'd like to know any recommendations you have on setting that up and what to put in the raised bed.
Yes, so asparagus does need a raised bed because of our heavy rains in the wintertime. It also doesn't need to be planted as deep. If you read the instructions on how to plant them, usually they're talking about northern gardens, they plant them deep. Here, what I would do is I would set up your bed the way you want it. It doesn't have to be high. 6 inches, 8 inches, is plenty. Make your frame and then dig the dirt that's in that. Dig it a shovel deep, really good, and then add stuff to that so it's mostly sunk and partly raised. And then plant the asparagus somewhere in the middle of that. And by the way, while you're at it, you can also plant daffodil bulbs, some of the early blooming daffodils in between or around them. That way you'll have something to look at in the wintertime. But mostly dirt with some organic matter added, mostly sunk, partly raised, and then mulch with something like bark. Bark will decompose and feed the soil. It's a whole lot better than pine straw. And I would only fertilize with this stuff called cottonseed meal. The reason I like cottonseed meal is it's local, it's natural, it's safe, but it's got everything the plant needs plus a little extra nitrogen, and it's in a form that feeds earthworms, and they will come up and eat your mulch, and they'll keep digging and enriching the soil around it. So add stuff to your native dirt. Don't make it too high. Fertilize with a little cottonseed meal, and then mulch with bark. Or hay if you got some clean hay that doesn't have weed seeds in it. And then plant some daffodils around the edge because, why have that bed all year for 1 month of harvest?
Okay, good. Thank you. I've got a bunch of sawdust from my woodworking shop. I thought I was going to add a little bit of that, kind of help lighten the soil. What do you think?
Fresh sawdust and fresh shavings, as they start to break down, they tend to pull nitrogen. They don't take nitrogen away from your plant. They use nitrogen to break up. If you're going to do that, spread them out first, dust those with cottonseed meal, and dig them in so they got a little extra nitrogen coating them so they don't pull away from your plants. Oh, and one other thing, when you order your asparagus, try to find one that's labeled for the South. Not all asparagus does well. And even though it sounds weird, one of the best varieties starts with the word Jersey. Like, I can't remember all the names. Also, make sure you're ordering male plants because the females make the berries. That just takes energy. Look for male varieties that are suited for the South. Go online, maybe at msucares.com, Mississippi State, find a good Southern reference for the best varieties that'll take our heat through the summertime. The variety does make a difference.
Good. Thank you very much.
Oh, and you use your shavings as mulch on top of the ground. That'd be perfect.
Oh, yeah. Good mulch.
Good.
Thanks a lot.
All righty.
All right. Now let's go to Francis in, I think this is Silver Hill, Alabama.
Good morning, Francis. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing very well. Thank you. I do live over on the east side of Mobile Bay. We're about 25 miles from the Gulf, and we live on, out in the middle of nowhere on 20 acres. My husband's sister is building on our acreage, and she'll do her own landscape plantings, not the contractor.
Okay.
And, down here you hear people say, well, down here you can plant your shrubs in the winter and they'll have time to adjust in the spring and get ready for the blazing summers that we have. But with all this freezing weather, now I'm not sure when we should start the plantings.
Well, these are good questions, but the bottom line is, and keep in mind, I've worked in horticulture for decades. You can plant a container grown plant any week of the year. It's just if you plant in the summertime, you have to water a little bit more often than if you plant in the fall or the winter, so they get sort of established. So there's no rush on that. The most important thing is get the dirt right first. Do not plant until you've had a chance to dig the holes, and I'm gonna say dig them twice, a couple of weeks apart, and they get really, really creamy. A nice wide hole. And then whatever you plant, I don't care what it is, whether it's for a tomato plant or an azalea, always loosen up the potting soil and stir it into your dirt. Don't just pull it out of the pot and stick it in. So as long as you got pretty good, well-prepared soil and you can mulch it and loosen up the roots, the only concern after that is watering. And keep this in mind. I know it's hot. I'm from the South. I planted a lot of stuff. I live in England for 3 months at a time. I would never water a new shrub or tree more than every week or two, even the first summer. But get this, I watered deep, mulch, and then if you keep them wet, the deeper roots are going to rot, and they're not going to grow deep. So a good deep soaking every week or two at the most. And one other thing, she does not have, you're out in the middle of nowhere, there's no reason you got to plant stuff hugging the foundation. Come out 3 or 4 feet, 5 feet. It looks just as good, and the dirt will be a whole lot better, whole lot easier for the plant. So she doesn't have to hug that foundation. She doesn't. Make it where you can actually, get between them and the house. They'll do a whole lot better.
Okay. We have what they call sandy loam soil.
Yeah.
I'm not
Perfect.
quite sure what that tells me. Okay.
It tells it's good dirt.
Okay, good. Well, thanks very much.
You bet. Main thing is loosen that potting soil up and stir it into her dirt and then mulch, and it'll be great. You can do that anytime you get around to it. I would not plant until the dirt is ready, because that determines whether or not it's going to have to redo it later.
Okay. I will tell her that, and we'll do it.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
There.
Bye.
What's up, Java?
One more call before we take another cheesy tune break. And let's go to Thomas in, is this Cuba, Alabama? I've never heard of Cuba, Alabama.
Oh, yeah. I've been through there. Hey, Thomas, good morning.
Hey there. Good morning to you. My question is, I've got a chicopin tree. It's probably 8 years old. It's umbrella shape, real good shape, about 12, 13 feet tall, and it will not produce any fruit, any acorns. Does it need a mate or what?
No, chicopin, it goes by a whole bunch of different names. And it's got the little spiny fruit balls. That's the one you're talking about?
Say it again.
It's got little round spiny seed balls.
I didn't understand.
Okay.
No, it don't produce any fruit at all, nothing. It shows a little bud starting out, but then it dies. It falls off.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. They have separate male and female flowers on the same tree, just like pecans and oaks. The male flowers look like little worms and hang down, and the pollen sheds off of that. And then they fall on the ground. Under a pecan tree and oak tree, it looks like a bunch of dried up worms on the ground. Those are the male flowers. They have pollen. The female flowers are in clusters, and that's what becomes the nuts, the chinkapins or the pecans or the acorns. And if we have a lot of rain, and the rain washes the pollen off the male flowers, it may not have a chance of blowing the female flowers. So sometimes it's just because we had a lot of hard rains. Also, a young tree may take 6 or 7 years just to get mature enough to start flowering. So what I would do is I would check it this year when it starts to leaf out. Look for these long, skinny, they'd be kind of white-looking worms on the tree. And if it's got those of the male flowers, pull a branch down, and towards the ends of the twigs, they'll have little clusters of that of the female flowers. As long as it's flowering, the only thing you got to worry about is whether it rains too much or washes the pollen away. Other than that, they grow perfectly fine where you are, perfectly fine.
So it could be 8 to 9, 10 years before we start producing fruit. Is what I think I'll do it.
Did you grow yours from seeds or did you buy it?
I bought a sprout.
Okay, the sprout was grown from a seed. Trees go through a juvenile phase. Pecans, oaks, chinkapins, all those things. And sometimes it's 6 or 7 years or so before they get mature enough to start making flowers. So it might just be the tree's just too young right now.
Okay, one more question on that tree. As the season goes on, as summer goes on, it starts having the leaves start to swivel a little bit, and some white-looking ash looks on them. Is that some kind of fungus or something?
Oh, it sounds like it. Without looking at it, I would know. I'm pretty familiar with all that kind of stuff. One thing to check for is make sure that the trunk of it hasn't been hit with a string trimmer or the lawnmower down close to the ground. Because if you did that, that can cause the tree to not be able to transport water and nutrients as well. And when it gets really hot and dry, they may not be able to pump water up. So as long as you haven't hit the trunk with the lawnmower or the string trimmer, main thing is just give it a good deep soaking every 2 or 3. Once it's been established, every 2 or 3 weeks is about all you can do. A little fertilizer every 2 or 3 springs, and that's about it.
So you say keep it watered every 2 or 3 weeks or so.
No more than that. Once the tree is established, a lot of people never water their trees, and they need a little water. You don't have to water them, but they're not going to do as well. But at least, I'm going to say at least once a month, if you go without rain, it needs a good soaking. This alligator chinkapin, not a real big tree to begin with. So, it might just be, give it some time. Keep the lawnmower off the trunk. Let's see what happens.
And fertilize what? Either triple 8, triple 13, then a special fertilizer?
Anything like that, but don't pile it up. Just spread it around. Like you're spreading syrup over a pancake. Spread it all around.
Okay. Well, we appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate your call. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Job, you say we're going to take a little break for my cheesy tune?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take our second break for this hour and see if we can gen up some more calls. I do got a couple more YouTube comments, but I like this song that's coming up.
We've played it before. It's a little short clip of a song called I Just Want to Celebrate Another Day of Living. And ain't it the truth, brother? Ain't it the truth? What a weird world it is. I'm glad we're gardeners and can listen to good music. We'll be back with more of the Gestalt Gardener right after this.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Welcome back, horticulturalist Felder Rushing. If you missed the first hour, be sure to go back on at mpbonline.org or go to YouTube and type in Gestalt Gardener, because an interview with Matt Nielsen, who is a professional arborist, he's working on the trees at the Grove at Ole Miss. He really is encouraging people to relax right now. Don't, make your place safe. Clear the limbs off your house, make it where you can drive and all, but you do not have to feel like you get out and start pruning on your shrubs. Matter of fact, in just a minute, I'm going to show what to look for starting in the next couple of weeks to tell if a shrub has been damaged bad or not. But meanwhile, do we have a caller, Java?
Well, we do have one getting lined up now, but I did want to get to these YouTube comments, because we have, we always have a nice, healthy group of folks in our YouTube. Good morning to Timothy, Margie. This is Gothic Park from Arkansas, and they had a comment saying we have 5 inches of solid ice in our garden. We could ice skate in our garden here in Arkansas, but they did say, since we are stuck inside, we've been busy starting 11 flats of flower seeds inside. We did some cuttings of coleus and chrysandras that we overwintered inside. Yeah.
This is a good time to start some cuttings and all. I think, this is just me personally, I think it's a little early to start seeds for summer stuff. Things like tomatoes and peppers. I think it's a little bit early. It takes 5 or 6 weeks from seed to transplant, and you really should not be putting things out. I know a lot of people are going to argue with it. I'm not going to argue. A lot of people try to be the first on the block and start planting in March. The dirt is cold then. The rains are cold. If you wait until April to plant your summer stuff, it will outgrow what you planted in March. So I think I would wait until middle of February before I really started stuff to set out in April. Really would. The earlier you do it, the leggier they're going to get. And if you do start them early, I think it's important. As soon as the seedlings get up, put them where they get a lot of light. Move your indoor lighting down close to because they can't see stuff that's over here. Put it down real close. Or every nice day we have above 50 degrees, put them outside in real sunshine, and the air movement and the real sunshine will make them sturdy and stocky. If you don't give them enough light, if they have too much heat, not enough humidity, they get long and leggy and flop over, and you really set yourself back. So I'd wait a little bit, and every chance you get, put them out where they get real sunshine. This is an old hand talking here. Anyway, we got anybody else, or you want me to show some pictures?
Well, I got one more question. We got two callers on the line. So hold on. But speaking of when to plant, Miss Buggy Wuggy, I've been holding on this question for a while. And
Buggy Wuggy been hanging on.
And she says, help with a bunch of E's and LP. And I never plant carrots at the right time. I try them every year. And when can I plant them in the spring this year? I live in South Mississippi. Our last frost is usually at the end of April.
Yeah. Well, she actually probably end of last frost, probably the end of March, because usually our last frost in central Mississippi is early April. carrots can take cool weather. They don't like freezing weather. They don't like hot weather. They like cool weather. So what I would do is I would sow the seeds sometime in latter part of February, late February, early March. You might beat a little bit, but here's the important thing: don't mulch them, because mulch keeps the ground cool. And if you're going to sow them, I would put a board or something over the seeds and check it every few days. And when the seeds first start to sprout, take the board off so that the seedlings, the board keeps it from getting packy and all. Pull the mulch back so they get real sunshine. But I would say late February, first part of March. You can also start carrots again in late August and first part of September and have a good crop before it gets cold. So the main thing is they don't like freezing, they don't like hot. We just got to late February, first part of March. I think that's a good time.
So carrots.
And by the way, I'm curious to find, is it buggy wuggy or boogie woogie?
No, it's buggy wuggy.
Buggy wuggy. All right, that's great. She gets an extra star today.
All right, and let's we got 2 phone calls, and if you want to jump in, we still have time. 1-877-MPB ring, 1-877-672-7464. But let's go to Mandeville and talk with Peg.
Morning, Peg. What's going on in the North Shore?
Hey, we're having a little bit of a warm day, and I just absolutely feel wonderful. I can't tell you. That's how I'm doing. Sweet pea variety. I never can find the seeds for sweet peas when I was told to plant them, the flowers, sweet pea flowers. My grandmother grew them in New Orleans, and they were just the most beautiful things. Well, I'm across the lake now, and I don't know where to get them because they're never in the stores when I look. And now I think it's too late, or is there a variety I can plant now?
No, it's not too late. Sweet peas are like English peas. They don't like freezing weather, which you don't have much of. So you could plant them sometime in February. The seeds are a little bit hard to sprout. And to answer your question, usually garden centers or the box stores usually have some different generic sweet peas on the seed racks. Usually, otherwise you can get them real quick, online, whether it's from Seed Savers or Baker's Creek or someplace like that, or even Amazon. But you got to be careful when you ordering stuff from a non-commercial place. A lot of different varieties. I think the seeds need to be soaked before they sprout well. But I wouldn't plant them. In South Louisiana, South Mississippi, South Alabama, you could probably plant the seeds in the middle of February or so.
But is there a variety you think does better, or just about any?
Nah, they I actually I've interviewed people from the Heirloom Sweet Pea Society, and the most incredible sweet peas you've ever seen, and they're all grown exactly alike.
Okay. Okay. Then the other question I have.
Don't try too hard. Your grandmama didn't try that hard. Don't try hard.
No, she didn't. She did it. Is there a difference between a split leaf philodendron and a monstera?
Oh yeah. They're actually different genera. They're only sort of related. The split leaf philodendron has a great big leaves that are deeply divided, like big elephant ears with deep divide, and they get huge, and they'll grow outside on the North Shore. The monstera has a whole leaf, and it's got holes in the leaf.
Right.
Other than that, they're growing the same.
One of them does better in the ground than the other, I guess.
Well, we see split leaf philodendron. We see split leaves all along the Gulf Coast. I've never seen a monstera in anybody's yards. It may be more tender. I don't know, but you can always keep it in a pot and drag it in if it has to be brought in. They get big.
We've been dragging.
Yeah.
But one other quick question is not a question. I left one of my parsley plants uncovered and covered the other one, and they look exactly the same after the freezes.
Parsley grows better over the winter than it does over the summer. I always plant my parsley in the fall. It makes like basketball size stuff, and it won't freeze even up in North Louisiana. Parsley loves the cold weather.
Well, I just found out for myself. It works. They love it.
Thanks for sharing the good news. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Felder. Thank y'all.
All righty. And Java.
All right.
Don't forget Java.
That's why I'm saying, y'all, Java is such a part. You couldn't do this without him.
He's my boss. I got to be nice.
Oh.
Anyway, thanks for your call.
Thank you. All right.
All right, Pig. Thanks for that. Let's go to Jim now in Jackson.
Good morning, Jim. How are you?
Good morning, Felder. Jim Rosenblatt here on a chilly day.
Yeah. What's
Felder,
up?
I just picked up your book, Maverick Gardeners, and it's fascinating. It was good to read about your old contemporary Dr. Dirt, but on the back of it, it says you're an 11th generation American gardener.
That's right.
Who was the first in that line?
My earliest ancestors came over in 1635 from Dorset, England. My next ancestors came over to Isle of Man in 1650. And matter of fact, if you've ever seen the movie called The Patriot with Mel Gibson, he was portraying portraying a guy named Johann Heinrich Felder. I'm named his son moved to Mississippi in the late 1700s. So yeah, we go way, way back. And not only that, but my son Ira, who you know, is the 11th generation rushing to serve in American military service. Direct line. We're proud of that. And I'm proud of your service too, Jim.
You know, it was interesting to read about the phrase, and I really like it. It's called pass along plants. Tell us how that came about.
Well, we used to, it's stuff in Java we can't say it. I used to call them old lady flowers because the only people who grew them were old ladies. And you had to, and by the way, old lady in the South is not an age or a gender thing. It's a style. And, you know, the kind of plants that people kept going because they love to share with each other. Couldn't buy them anywhere. But all the garden club ladies and their, you know, a lot of people grew them because they swapped among themselves. And a friend of mine from Texas said, let's just call them pass-along plants because that's what they are.
And let me give a shout out to Java because he had just played a song by Charlie
Musselwhite. Mm-hmm.
And I was in Kosciuszko yesterday and saw the plaque that was dedicated to Charlie Musselwhite, who's from that town.
Yeah, Charlie Musselwhite, he's up for Best Traditional Blues Album this year and for at the Grammys, which are happening Sunday. So, yeah, we had to give Charlie a little bit of love.
But he's from Kosciuszko, where the mascot of the team is called the Whippets.
Well, we appreciate your call, Jim. Thank you so much. Stay warm.
Best to you, Felder.
Okay, Java, got any other calls, or can I show a picture?
Yeah, let's get some pictures because you stacked the deck today.
This is what I've been saying. You know, there's a whole bunch I want to show, but if they could put up picture number 15, this is what to start looking for in the next couple of weeks on your shrubs, azaleas, sweet olives, plants that may get winter damage. Look down close to the ground and see if the bark is split. If you're not sure, take a look, and if it's split, there would be no question. Well, this is the picture of what split bark looks like. The sap can freeze and bust the bark, and that can kill the plant. So if you got plants that have split bark, they may be green up above there, but it's really important to cut them off below the split, close to the ground. That'll save the plant. They'll sprout out real quick, and they'll actually grow faster because the roots are intact. But look for split bark. And that's going to show up on a lot of plants called this sudden hard deep freeze. If you see it, don't think twice. Cut the plant off below it. It will save the plant. If you don't cut it, it'll probably die. And I just won't throw that in. We'll talk more about that next week. But main thing I just wanted to, and if I could show one more real quick picture number 8. I saw this in my little village the other day, and this is something you can do right now to give yourself some hope. Get you a window box. All the garden centers, all the big box stores, they got these long, narrow, rectangular boxes, and put some shrubs, put some flowers, just fill it full of all sorts, and make you a window box and put it out on the windowsill or on your porch or whatever to give you something to do to get you through the next couple of months. Window boxes can be jam-packed with all sorts of stuff, spiky stuff, rounded stuff, cascading stuff. Just overstuff it. And then if you want to, you can plant some of it out in the yard later, but don't give up just because it's wintertime. Don't wait till spring. Gardening now. That's what we do. And it's the only thing that gives us a little hope. It's like making your bed up in the morning. Just do it. It'll make you feel better. Gardening is good for you. And if you have a chance, take a kid to a garden center with you. Let them help pick some stuff out. Even if it won't grow well, don't tell them that. Just get them to plant some stuff. It gives us something to look forward to. Anyway, next week, Java, we're going to talk about cat poop in a raised bed.
I can't wait.
Yeah, put on some gloves, and we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to show the correct way to prune a big limb off of a tree or shrub without causing it to rot into the trunk. I had some pictures this week, but we just had such an interesting interview with Matt Nielsen. Just didn't get around to showing the picture. I'd rather talk to him than show pictures, so we'll do that later. Keep in mind, birds, hungry, put some bird seed out. And yes, blackbirds and sparrows are birds too. You know, it's okay. You know, we can all get along. Put enough out for the squirrels too. You know, it's just part of it. Don't moan and groan about it being wintertime. Plant something that helps the wildlife. It'll make you feel better. Make the world a better place too. Oops, starting to sound like I'm overly positive now. The truth is I'm just running out of steam. After 2 hours, I'm ready to, let me show you this, Java. Look what I got. Look at all these daffodils.
That's the only thing we can see. We can only see the yellow, the flower.
But they're the ones that are growing in this pot. I've had it all this time. A lot of pleasure in one pot full of daffodils on my windowsill. See, you can be a horticulturalist and have all this knowledge. Doesn't matter what you know, it's what you do that counts.
Are those the ones that you put was it vodka or gin?
Yeah. Matter of fact, the ones I did not put vodka and gin, you can't tell. The ones I had in water, look how long and skinny and floppy they are.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Anyway, no, I can kill plants with the best of them, Java.
All right, take us home, Felder. 2 hours, we're done.
Okay, I had a lot of good calls, had a good interview. I'm gonna be in the studio next week, so we're gonna get a report from what's going on before and after in my own garden, some of your own gardens. But me and Java and all the other folks at Mississippi Public Broadcasting, we appreciate it. We're glad to be in a position to bring quick, accurate information to you and good news and cheer that's local, that's geared to us. If you get a chance, go to a garden center, get a pot full of anything at all, put it out there, get a chance, take a kid with you and show them what we do best, and that's get dirty. See you next week.